Hi, this is Iris. I am sharing with you today the second layout from my Wild Hare Kits August kit, and I was inspired by a couple of papers to scrapbook these photos of a friend of mine who passed away in 2014. And the kit I got for August is very colorful, and the first layout that I made reflects that. In fact, this paper with the triangles was one of the main elements in that layout. But this time I was inspired by the black and white papers in my kit, particularly also these flowers that I thought maybe I'd fussy cut, but this vellum from the Crepe Paper Cool Kid collection was really the inspiration for me using the two photos of my friend. They're very monochromatic, taken in a restaurant, and there was just the flowers in the vase that you'll see once I start trimming. I thought maybe I'd use those flowers that I could fussy cut from the other paper, which is an Amy Tangerine paper. But here you can see that right away I decide to trim the photos to just show my friend's face. The background of the restaurant and then the spacing with the flowers was just too distracting. So I decided to trim the photos down, and then you'll see later on that I will end up not using the fussy cut flowers. But anyways, I also want to mention that this video is probably going to feel a little bit pieced together. I started this layout during the weekend at a weekend craft retreat, and here I am on a folding table with a clip that didn't let my phone hang at a good distance, so it's a bit closer than I've done in the past. So there will be a couple things that are cut off at a point, but and then I wasn't able to finish the layout then because of a series of unfortunate events that included me having to go get antibiotics. I won't go into the details, but anyway, what I mean to say is that somewhere down the line, you'll see that the background changes a bit. I'll be more zoomed out, and I'll be in my regular table. Okay, back to the layout. So here I matted the photos with white, just plain white cardstock, and then I took this paper from the Pebbles Girl Squad collection, and it has very cute, fun phrases with hashtags like hashtag BFF, hashtag smile, hashtag epic and super, and those really weren't appropriate for the sentiment of this layout. So I just trimmed them down. You can see here that here I am fooling around with some of the other papers just to see if I would like to matte with more than just the black and white here. But then in the end I decide to just use those, and I trimmed them so that there's only the hint of the letters, not real words showing, and I distressed them with just the side of the edge of my scissors. That's just normally what I do. I don't have a distressor. I'll use my nails, and that's never a good thing. So I try to just use the edge of the scissors. And then you'll see here that I start fussy cutting the flowers, and I stopped filming after a couple seconds because there's no need for anyone to watch me fussy cut a whole bunch of flowers. So it'll cut out and then come back magically with cut flowers. There they are. And I do play around a little bit with them right here to see if I'd like them placed a certain way. And I don't know, just looking at the photos, I wasn't really feeling the flowers. I don't generally use a lot of flowers myself, and then also my friend wasn't really a flowery kind of girl. So I decided that since I had cut the flowers with the vase off the photos anyway, I was going to stick with the black and white scheme for this layout. I turned to a design that I used last month in another layout that I don't have a process video for, but it's on my Instagram account, where I cut the paper, one of the papers, on a diagonal. And I really, really liked that design. So I went with that for this vellum as well. And you'll see here that I am going to, off camera, attach it to the white cardstock background, and I'm going to do that with a simple zigzag stitch in black thread. And that'll come up in a second here where it'll magically, there you go, it has a zigzag. Okay, so here I have the photos back on, and I started playing with a few little snippets of this doily. I placed some another little piece of the vellum, which is a little off camera right now, I'm so sorry, but you'll see it in a little bit, to see if I could form like a little element at the top, because I had this idea of using my, oh here we go, using my Fisker's little heart punch to punch out a whole bunch of hearts, since I didn't really have elements that would fit the theme of this layout either. The embellishments were very colorful, so I wanted to stick with black and white and gray. I even cut from this Amy Tangerine cut apart sheet, just using the background of that one square that has the gray pinstripe. So this is mostly with a paper-based layout, because I knew I had all the black and white papers. And the only thing I added from my stash was this doily. I just wanted to soften the hard edges a bit with that plus sign vellum. And here you can see that I've gone, and I think in a second it'll pan down a bit so you can see what I'm doing at the top. I just cut a strip of vellum, and I was playing with just layering it on top of another bit of doily. And I just was having trouble with the strip of vellum wasn't long enough at first. Oh, here we go. So I kept cutting it. Also, you know, when you hand tear, sometimes the tears are too jagged. I wasn't really liking that. So I cut the vellum several times and hand tore them several times until I was happy with the length and how the tear looked. Okay, so we cut again, and here I am at my regular table, and I stitched the vellum and the doily up there, and then I did some splattering, which is always fun, although you're never quite sure what you're going to get. And then coming home from my crafty weekend, I lost some of the punched hearts too. So here I go, and I punched some more. This is like the layout that never wanted to get finished. And it wasn't anything to do with the layout, the design, or anything like that. It was just stuff going on in real life. Sometimes that happens. I even punched some out from that paper with all the fun sayings, and the back of that paper has the cute little phones. But again, the ones I chose didn't really have like full word or anything, just a little bit of the letters. And this colorful paper, and the name of it escapes my mind, had a couple pieces that were, a couple of triangles that were gray, so I punched some out of that. Alright, so here I had some fun just sprinkling the hearts to rain down from that little, I don't know what you call it, a little ledge up there. The hearts raining down on the photos, you know, trying to artfully scatter them without looking like they're too scattered, without them looking like they're, you know, purposely placed there. That's always can be a challenge. And then I glued these on with these micro glue dots, which are, I think they're like 1/8 of an inch, and I absolutely love these micro glue dots. They're smaller than the minis, and they allowed me to just, you know, one little tiny one on there they're strong, they hold on, and then I could, you'll see, as I place them, I ruffle them up a little bit so that they almost look like fluttering butterflies, but they're little fluttering hearts. So in a way they're raining down, in a way they are flying up. I cut the title from my silhouette on white cardstock, and it says, "The world is a sadder place without you." Or at least it will once I get the placement there. And that comes directly from my journaling, which had been a Facebook post that I rewrote for this more as a letter to my friend, I guess. And that was at the end of the post. So here, I was feeling like it was floaty a bit. The whole layout was floating a bit, and I wanted to add some more, something darker towards the right. So after I got the title placed, I was looking at this piece of paper, and in the end, I decided to cut a strip and sew it also with a zigzag stitch there. And I liked that a lot better. I felt that it kind of anchored it a bit. And here I fiddled with the title placement, and I started using just regular roller, the roller adhesive, which wasn't working out really well. And then I remembered I have these fabulous little, they're these little picks that Jennifer McGuire has recommended. So there they are. They're from like the dentist. There's these little, not picks, but they're almost like little Q-tips, and they use them in the dental office. And these, along with using the Tim Holtz, the Ranger matte medium, just works so much better. You just dip it in, and it's such a small little tiny, the little tip there. You can get into all these intricate and thin die cuts and get that matte medium in there that is, it's not shiny when it dries, so even if a little bit shows, it doesn't look like you glued it down. So I ended up using that to finish off the title. Sorry, I didn't really speed this part up as much as I thought I had. But, you know, then I just kind of tapped everything down. I put a little bit more adhesive in places that I needed to. I fluffed up the little hearts, and then I go through and snip the threads. Sometimes I like to leave the threads, but on the edges it just didn't seem to be a good thing to just leave them laying out like that. And there it is. Here are some photos. Off camera, I remembered that I wanted to add that little bow to just sort of pin the photos onto the layout. Here's some close-up of the hearts and the journaling. If you want to see the photos and the journaling, you can go to my Instagram account, and here are the places you can find me online. Thanks for watching.